Hello and welcome to another episode of The Eden's Gem. It's always good to see you, our returning subscribers, those that are the first ones to look for it on Monday morning when it's uploaded. This month, as a community, we are looking at Abiding April. We also, where I officially live and officially recording this from, it is the season of spring. We're about to head into summer. I actually love spring because it is a reminder of things that are buried. It's time for it to come out. But before we delve deep into today's episode, as always, I want us to give a shout out to our production team right here, Bless Production and Eyes Have Not Seen. They keep these episodes coming. They do all the hard work. I just show up here, sit down, and chit chat. The last two episodes, in commemoration with spring, we have been talking about, as we're abiding, what are we abiding to do? And in spring, what are we intentionally growing? The first episode we basically just looked at as a crop or a seed, which are our thoughts, our ideas, and we as people. Do we just see ourselves as just a dot in the soil, or is there more to that? Second episode, we looked at, why am I planting? Am I planting for selfish gain? Am I planting on a large scale where I'm looking to even export some of it, what I'm doing? But today I want us to talk about, what am I planting? You see, before a person goes out, whether they're a farmer that does it as a profession and does it on a large scale, or a novice gardener like myself, we don't just pick up seeds and then plant it. We ask, why do I want to start off with? And then we go to, now that I know why I'm going to do it, just to grow some pots, just to grow some plants in a pot by my windowsill, or do I have the space outside to do that? And this is what I'm looking to achieve. Then we go, okay, I want to grow some flowers, but what kind of flowers do I want to grow? Do I want to grow roses? Do I have time? Do I have an understanding for it? Do I want to just scatter some seeds of wild flowers because I don't have time and I don't have what it takes to actually nurture something like an orchid? What is it when it comes to life that you're intentionally planting? Is the next question that I had to ask myself in my place of abiding. I want to keep on with the story of Farmer Brown. If you haven't and you're not familiar with the story, go and click on the previous two episodes and you will get the full story of Farmer Brown. What was the motive for Farmer Brown to give a quarter of an acre of his land, which has been turned into a very thriving and a successful school that just celebrated 100 years? What was his motive? I believe that what made him do it, because it was a farming community, he wanted, maybe he was the lead farmer. I don't know. Maybe he was the president of the farmers club. I'm not sure. But what I can guess is that maybe he wanted to lead by example. Maybe he had done some research and had found out that if his children were allowed to go to school other than do just farm work, that maybe they will be able to have an edge over other farmers in the community. And so what made him do what he did? That years later, it has become one of the prestigious communities around the area. What he did, what he planted, with the intention and the generosity with which he did it, 100 years later, we are still reaping from it. So what are you planting? What are you planting? I was actually listening to an episode of a podcast this week, and it really blessed me. It's a space that I'm in, but this particular research really blessed me. The producer, or the person that was sharing of the content, said this, that 80% of all our thoughts is negative, and 90% of those thoughts are repetitive. So I don't mean to get you confused. Everything that we're consistently thinking about, 80% of that is negative. Oh, I'm going to lose this business. Oh, my marriage is going to fail. Oh, I'm never going to get married. Oh, this diagnosis is going to kill me. This headache is going to be something monstrous and then it's going to be a terminal disease. It's repetitively things that we're thinking about on a consistent basis. 80% out of those is negative. And out of that, 90% of the thought that's coming in, whether positive or negative, is repetitive. So what I was thinking about yesterday, I'm going to wake up today and keep thinking about it. And if we have to think of our thoughts as seeds that we're planting, what is it that we're planting for the next generation? I spoke about Farmer Brown. Now let's look at Mordecai. You see, Mordecai was planting something that will prevent the Jewish nation or the Jewish people from being annihilated. So because of that what he was planting, when it came to resistance where Esther was afraid, Mordecai went with encouragement. Mordecai went with persistence. Mordecai knew that because this is what I want to do, I can't give up. If our thoughts are allowed to be negative and we don't use the 20% to cover and bury the 80%, and it becomes a repetitive cycle, repetitively, we're thinking about it, what are we going to leave for the next generation 100 years from now? Are we going to leave a generation that's always afraid and full of negativity? Or are we going to be the one dot, like Mordecai, the one dot, like the children of Issachar, like one dot, like Farmer Brown, and say, everybody may be opposing this. Everybody just reads about the news and does nothing about it. But I'm going to be that one dot that I'm going to intentionally plant positivity. I'm going to plant change. I'm going to plant encouragement. And I'm going to tell this generation, don't just listen to the negativity that's being spewed at you. You can do something. And for me, that is what I'm planting. So I want to ask you, in this season of planting, what exactly are you planting? And what is it that 100 years from now, a generation will be reaping? And would they even remember what you and I planted with the one dot of life that God put on the soil called earth? God bless you, and I will see you in the next episode.